All right. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Nerd Nonsense. Name change, very clearly obvious from last time. Last minute name change, actually, because I think I branded everything as Nerd Nonsense right before the last episode went live, but we recorded everything as Nerd Nonsense Inferno. So, a little dissonance, but now we are on track.
Less fire.
Less fire, more chill night vibes. It matches our image art too better, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what have you been up to during the pet in the week?
Well, first I should say this is that was Nero.
Oh, right.
Doing the intro.
Whoopsie. I'm Nero.
You're an audio podcast.
That is true. Yes. Hello. I am Nero.
And
this
I
is
am
Makoto.
So what I've been up to since that last recording. Well, first off, working. We decided to both embark on entering the Has-Been Hotel community.
Yes.
Because we both realized that we're kind of doing the nerd community a disservice by not watching that. So
yeah.
So we both watched the pilot. I watched it at 2x speed just to like knock it out.
Damn.
Gotta say, looks great in 60 FPS.
I guess to your 2x speed thing. How do you watch stuff on 2x speed regularly?
It's something that I've been trying to do lately just to get more content in.
Interesting.
I've noticed that a lot of people do that by like trying to keep up with like current events by just watching things at 2x speed. So specifically like especially for like long content like podcasts and like stuff like that. But so I wanted to try it out with Has-Been Hotel and probably should have slowed that one down. Bit of a fast-paced show as is.
Yes, there was a lot in that 30-minute pilot. I can see why it garnered a huge fandom right off the bat because it's very dense. Looking back, like I went through, scrubbed a little bit through, back and forth again to like just try to pick out little details because it is jam packed. I did not. So I guess I knew really nothing going in besides like a few fan songs. Did not expect it to be mostly a musical. Kind of dug it though. Makes sense that there's lots of fan music around it since it's a musically themed show.
Kind of got like that Disney princess vibe,
yes,
but like, or at least that character, but also like in a very casual, gruesome world.
Yeah, like the way
and a lighthearted, gruesome world in a way. Like the way they handle it, it's just like, yeah, whatever. That dude got cut in half.
Yeah,
whatever.
Before you said you were going to watch it, when I just messaged you saying, "Oh yeah, I watched it." The way I was going to describe it to you was, if Lucifer's daughter was a Disney princess. I feel like it's very apt.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I very much enjoyed it though. I knew I vibed already with the aesthetic style of it. And I like all the little bits and just all the little like referential. Because I'm a big on demonology and all that kind of stuff. And so just little bits and pieces. I know there's more in the other thing, Hell of a Boss. Like I know they go with 7 Deadly Sins there and stuff like that. So I do plan to watch that eventually.
Okay.
But it is just cool seeing. Like I liked it. Did you have, was there anything standoutish for you there?
From the show, I don't know. The characters are fun. None of them really stood out to me a whole lot. Now, granted, I wasn't paying like the closest attention though.
Right.
It is a fun show. There's only one episode, right?
It's just the one. It's the pilot. Yeah. And then there's also an official music video called Addict.
Okay.
That is towards Angel
I did
Dust.
see like covers for that song.
Yes, so there is an official music video for Angel Dust. I don't know if it was a fan song first or an official song first.
Who knows?
But Chi-Chi's on that track, so that was like a pleasant surprise.
Man, as far as I'm aware, FNAF has a ton of bangers. So with the amount of fan songs that it has.
Yeah. So yeah, there was the song. I think that's For official content, I think there's fan comic two prequel fan comics too. I did
Oh,
not read
cool.
those yet, but when I was deep diving looking after, I did see that. I
Kind
just
of
didn't
a
know where to look for those.
wild and vast community, honestly.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
awesome.
they've been going at it for what 3-4 years now since that
I
pilot came out.
guess.
Just trying to living off breadcrumbs. It reminds me of the
Hmm.
early days of the RWBY community where we
Oh
just
yeah.
were living off those 4 trailers.
Man, every I guess we're gonna start on Ruby now because I've been watch. I actually have been watching Ruby content, like Ruby critique content. I guess
Interesting.
a lot of people just hating on Ruby and it's not what it used to be and stuff.
There,
And holy crap! And I could see it from afar. I never really dove deep into Ruby. I watched the first half of season 1, and I just stopped. But like I was still like kind of keeping up from afar, and it was looking really cool. I liked a lot of the characters. I think Sun Wukong was a really cool character for me, but I like anyone Sun Wukong. But yeah, Ruby, just Rooster Teeth in general has just been in a downhill. And it really sucks.
yeah.
It
That,
sucks. I still have been watching like quite a bit of Rooster Teeth content though.
so yeah, I guess I've been in the Ruby fandom since like day one. Still am in it. I still browse the Ruby subreddit. Keep up to date with pretty much everything as much as I can anyway. It it's got highs and lows. It's got a lot more high and low points, like really high, really low points. I feel like now. I have critiques, obviously. I don't love to dwell on those. Like, there's just they rush through things. I wish would have taken more. Like, they could have stretched out more, and they stretch out things that I honestly wish they would have just rushed through more, or like not even bothered.
It
Um,
sounded to me like this last season just felt lost.
I very much enjoyed this season, but that's because I've been waiting for Ruby as a character to get character development since the
Hmm.
beginning. Because Ruby just has had none. I mean, she's had like background character development. Like there's stuff been going on in the background for her, but it hasn't been like front and center. Like every other member of Team Ruby had front and center character development except for Ruby Rose herself. And this season kind of like actually addressed that, but it also did it in very clear way of not in a clear way, in a quick way, right? A little too quick, right? Like I feel like there's 2 episodes missing almost, where things
Hmm.
got resolved too quickly at the end. And there were definitely, I think it came out that there were cuts that they had to make because of budget constraints. So that
Yeah.
makes sense. Still had some hype moments for me. It definitely it took a huge detour from the main storyline, right? Like if there wasn't a character development, it wasn't if it wasn't a character development focus, it would have felt like complete filler because it did not progress the overarching plot at all.
Did you used to watch Red versus Blue as well?
I watched. I think I'm in. Was it first 3 or 4 seasons? I watched.
Okay. Because
Um,
it was in season, I want to say season 10. It was during their finale when they premiered the Red trailer,
yes,
and it was a very cool concept because my brother and I actually used to watch Monty Ohm's Dead Fantasy
loved Dead
series as
Fantasy.
well.
That's how I
And
found out
when
about
so when we
Ruby was
found
from
out
that.
season 8 had Monty Ohm animating for them, we were like, "Holy crap, this is awesome!" We also ran into Haloid like years ago at that point
Yeah,
too. Um, but so so we were very excited to see Ruby like with this anime girl with a scythe sniper rifle, and it was really cool video. Just to Each trailer was just a banger. And then when the show finally started, my brother was actually following it for the longest time. I think he fell off last season though.
yeah. A lot of people fell off last season. If it wasn't like again, it took a huge detour.
Hmm.
I liked the prior season right before a lot. It got very dark. I guess not dark, but grim dark. Not grim dark. I don't want to. I don't want to straight to call it dark, but it got darker. I guess.
Hmm.
Phrase that. It definitely like Ruby can be very clearly. There's a very clear split point, right? When Montione passed away, things very
Just around
clearly.
season 3.
Yeah, it was mid-season 3 development.
Yeah.
Um, there was a very clear split point, but that's also when they switched from Poser to Maya, so the visuals changed a lot, right? Because Monty was a very strong like I'm going to only use Poser, and that's how I've like learned all my like shortcuts for it and everything. And the most of the industry at that point was already using Maya, so it was like holding the extra animators back, like the side
It was
animators.
strange because I'm pretty sure he used Maya for Red versus Blue.
I don't think he liked it though. I think like for RWBY, which I guess is his child, he kept using Poser
Yeah,
for some reason.
he he had this style where Red versus Blue that I really miss, and that like there was definitely some jank physics to it, like the way arms moved and stuff for some characters, but he did action so well that like it's been really hard for them to capture. They did a good job with the chorus trilogy for Red versus Blue. Season 13 especially was where they finally like made their own style, I guess, to match Monty
Yeah,
finally. Um which is exciting. And then they decided to just change animating team, I guess, for something for season 14, because then it was just like jank again. I don't know. But I don't know. He did the action so well to where like it seemed like he was less focused on the detail and just more so focused on the motion. And it
right.
worked, and it worked very well, and I loved his style. So that's what made me look forward to RWBY.
So it was the first three seasons of RWBY. I feel like were very carried by animation, right? By Monty's fighting style, choreography. Story wise, it wasn't the greatest. I think, and I guess that's kind of like the dissonance for people, right? Like once Monty was gone, all the fight scenes took a massive. I want to say nosedive, but like they weren't awful. They just weren't.
They had to
He
they
was
had
a
to
one in
figure
a kind.
something out.
He was a one in a million fight choreographer animator, right? So
I don't know if you ever watched like Rooster Teeth content outside of RWBY, really, like a whole lot.
I did
Um,
some stuff, but not like crazy. I wasn't super into Rooster Teeth.
According to the podcasts that they would do, he was always studying
Yeah.
animation stuff, but always creating things too. One thing that he used to do is, first off, he was the first one in their company to have dual monitors. And then once everyone started to get dual monitors, he said he had to one up everyone and get 6 monitors. and then but one thing he always did is he always had Avatar playing the CG animated blue people in space.
Oh,
Um he had that movie playing at 0.5 speed constantly so he could look at details
interesting.
for how they did their animation stuff, because it, I mean, beautiful movie, by the way. So
Oh yeah, I'm definitely like I'm invested still to a point. Like I will definitely like I'm waiting for Volume 10. I am invested at this point. It's not something like I look forward to with bated breath like I used to. Because I
mhm.
remember like season three, wait for time for season three was like unbearable to me. I was like so invested. Um,
You just watch it casually now.
nah, yeah, I just
Yeah.
watch it casually. Like it happens, it's on. When it's finally airing, I'll watch it. Like maybe I'll let a few episodes build up because they're on a shorter end typically. Like some of them are like normal length side, but they still do vary like to like that 15-minute mark. So let it build up. I'll watch. Um, the weird thing right now has been the Justice League movies, the Justice League RWBY crossover movies.
Yeah.
Would love to give a full talk about that once I actually see the second one. It came out digitally, but it hasn't not come out physically. And if I'm gonna pay $20 for it, I'm gonna pay for the physical disc
Okay.
because it's the same price physical and digital. So
Okay. Yeah.
I will
So
just
you like it? Just
I've watched
briefly.
the first. So I watched the first one. It was interesting. It's in the RWBY animation style, right? So Rooster Teeth made it. It was it was weird.
Uh-huh.
Uh, like it was I don't because yeah, I guess the first part's set in the RWBY world, and the second part's set in the Justice League world, right? DC universe.
The main thing I took away from that film was Chandler Riggs was playing Batman, who is the guy who played Carl in The Walking Dead.
Wait, in the second one,
I don't know. I think in the
because the
first
first one
one.
it's Nat Wolff who's playing Batman, which was a
Really?
whole thing in
Okay,
of
so
itself. Cause I was like,
was he
I've heard
was
this
he
effing
Batman?
voice
Hold on.
before.
Chandler Riggs Batman. Was he Batman or Superman?
Might be Superman.
Superman. He's Superman.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because Nat Wolff played Batman, and that was a trip hearing that. I
Okay,
was like, excuse me? There was also weird ships going on, because the RWBY community is 1000% sustained by shipping.
for sure, for
It's what
sure.
gives it lifeblood. Um, and there was some weird Weiss and Batman shipping going on that I don't know how I felt about. Where she was legit just trying to convince Batman, like, you don't have to go back to your world. You don't have to go back to Gotham. You can just stay here. Just stay here with me. I was like, what?
Hmm.
Excuse me? Uh, there was some weird, Nora and Ren had like a whole weird thing going on with Cyborg, where like Cyborg had a crush on, like, appeared to have a crush on Nora, which was making Ren jealous. It was just, there was some stuff going on.
So it's just so there's just a lot of ship bait,
Oh,
from
it
what
was
it
a lot
sounds
of
like.
weird DC RWBY crossover ship bait. Wonder Woman, I guess, was they're going. I guess what they were going with the timeline implication of Wonder Woman liking Batman. So that was a weird. Also, there was some very clear weird shipping. The only one I was like, oh yeah, this is cool, was the Green Lantern they used, Jessica Cruz. She had a lot of cool scenes with John, which were actually really cute ship moments, and she felt like she fit in the RWBY world the most. I think,
Mm-hmm.
just her whole personality and her arc really like
Yeah.
made it matched up with John's arc where he was in the series when the movie takes place. Which I think is like season 7. Takes place mid season 7.
Okay.
Um, so it was the first movie was interesting. It just the whole thing feels like a fever dream. Like when I heard it got announced, I was like, yes, I'm aware that they had crossover comics, but this is just whole thing feels like a weird fever dream.
It is a little strange. I mean, I'm glad they were able to work on I'm glad they were able to work on, like, something with DC and stuff. They definitely had like some crossover merch and stuff,
Yeah,
but now they could finally now they were actually able to do like an official like crossover thing, which is pretty cool.
yeah. So it's interesting. I'm excited. I am mildly interested to see season part 2. Right, everyone's like seeing the Ruby characters in the DC world will be interesting. Like how those the take. Um, so we'll see.
Mhm.
Um, Also, I guess while we're still on the Ruby tangent, I think the best Ruby content honestly to come out recently was the anime
Mhm.
by
I've heard good things about that anime.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ice Queendom by Shaft Studio Shaft. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. It was kind of like the first like 2 episodes I think were like a retelling of the first of Volume 1 beginning. The first 4 episodes were a retelling of Volume 1, a little expedited,
Mhm.
and then it went into its own original story, which actually liked a lot. It dealt with a lot of like Weiss. It dealt with a lot of stuff that they would deal with in later seasons with Weiss, and then stuff with Blake as well. But it was gorgeously animated. Studio Shaft did phenomenal, and it got cool new outfits for everyone. It was and the opening song was a banger.
Hmm.
So did enjoy that a lot. Before we move on though, all the way back, I did want to circle back to Hosbin Hotel for a second.
Okay.
Um, I did want to note that I am 1000% now going to become obsessed with Alistair, the radio demon, because I think it's the fucking coolest concept ever. I love
um
his. I know you also 2 times speed, so I'm not distorts the voices, but his voice and the effect they gave it was so cool. Um,
so you cut out for me, but I'm assuming you're talking about Radio
yes,
Head?
sorry,
Okay.
the
Yeah, yeah,
radio
yeah.
demon.
He's the
Yeah,
only one that I could think of like, okay, voice. I heard voice. Okay. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, the radio demon, Alistair.
Mhm.
Super. So yeah, I wasn't sure if you like when you were listening to it 2 times speed. If you could like if you caught all the voice stuff with it, but it was
No, yeah,
so.
I picked that up. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh, this is such a cool concept.
Mhm.
Um, I never clicked. So I listened to like again. I'd heard fan songs before, right? So the one I remember here was "Insane," the fan song "Insane," and like I was like, oh, this has a cool old timey sound to it, right? Watched the show, I'm like, oh, that's why.
Mhm.
Um, I love the design of him, and I love his character, and I think he gives me that full like that old school like deal with the devil vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Super interested with him. Probably gonna become obsessed with him if I get deep into the fandom. That's it. Just want to make note of that character. It's like probably
Uh-huh.
the standout for me.
Got you. Well,
Uh, what else?
so has been Hotel, and then there's the last thing that I'll mention about what I've been up to is have you heard of Suika?
Suika?
Suika, yeah.
Like I, what I'm thinking is probably not what you're talking about. All I can
There
think of is
is
the
a
character from Doctor Stone.
no, it's not that. It is it is has been known on TikTok as the watermelon game.
Okay, I have not heard
it's
of
been
this.
it's been surprisingly popular, and it's been mine and Luna's like obsession right now. It's got that Tetris feel to it. Um
Ooh.
it is very much you drop there's a tier system to the fruit. I think it goes like cherry, strawberry, grape, tangerine, orange, apple, some sort of it looked like a guava or something like that, or like some sort of I don't know, like I'm gonna say guava. Then after that goes to peach, and then pineapple, cantaloupe, watermelon. Um,
Okay.
and I think to completely clear is to match two watermelons. I think so. Basically, when you drop a cherry and you drop another cherry on it, if you match the two, it turns into a strawberry. Match two
Mhm.
strawberries becomes a grape. Match two grapes, blah blah blah. And you have this little jar that you're dropping these fruit into, and they're all round, might I add. They're not blocks. So there is like rolling physics in it. Um so even after you drop your fruit, they can still shift around and move depending on the gravity. So it's like sometimes the play is to just hold for a bit and wait for the shift to happen. But due to there being physics, anytime any fruit falls out of the jar, you lose. Like it's done. That whatever that is, that's your score.
Oh.
So whether it overflows or if you pop two fruit and then it gets bigger, knocking up some of the other fruit on top of it, that can happen. And that's just all right, game over. That's your score. And you're like, no.
Damn.
So that's been our obsession. My record currently is like I want to say 2,400, something like that. I have only reached one watermelon. And I have not been able to match two watermelons yet. But
So wait, what is it on? Like, is it PC,
it's on
Switch?
Switch. It's
Okay.
$3 on Switch.
Hmm. It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Definitely a fun game. I've been having a lot of fun with it. And it shows up on the Switch as watermelon game. I think if you search Suika, which is Suika, if you search that in the eShop, you'll find it there.
Okay. I will have to give it a look because I actually have been looking for a new like chill out puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been like, I started doing crosswords and Wordle on the New York Times app because that's why
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
that desperate at this point.
I love me some Wordle. I
Uh,
haven't really been playing it as of late, but you know,
it's like I was going back to Tetris and I was like, there's only so much Tetris Effect I can play because it's the same like levels and vibes all over again. So I'm looking
hmm
for something new. So maybe I will give that a shot.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's definitely cheaper than buying Tetris Effect Connected because that's a $40 game. But
yeah, I already have
if
that one though, luckily. But
yeah,
it is a was it really $40?
it was $40, man.
Jesus.
That game
This
also has a VR element to it too.
Yeah, I've played it in VR. It's a hassle to set up, but it is fun when you do it. It's just man,
It's like the same thing. It's just
yeah,
you look around at the pretty colors. That's pretty
it's
much it.
much more like what's it called? Oh, what is the word I am looking for? Sense overload. It's more
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, another quick thing, I guess. I've now realized I think my medium for playing the extra Riot games is on my Switch because I kind of like the feel of that more than playing it on my PC. So I think that's gonna be where I'm gonna get all of them.
Nice.
So I just recently got the Echo game. So
Ooh, you will have to tell
uh,
me how it is once you get through
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's I've only played part of like the first level, but of course, like just with how work is, I'm gonna be taking some time off from work pretty soon, so I might actually like dive into that a bit. Um, but to help transition into what you've been up to, I will say we did get Spider-Man.
Yes.
She played it for a little bit. She played through like the first level. We fought Sandman.
Yeah.
Um, and then she saved the game, and now we started watching New Girl on Hulu. It's a sitcom that she loves very much that she wants to introduce to me, so I've been watching it with her. It's a lot of fun. A good show.
Yeah,
It's
I have
really
one friend
funny.
who really likes New Girl.
But Spider-Man 2 came out.
Yeah, so Spider-Man 2 came out, and that has been my life for the past 2 days.
Mhm.
2 days including today, so 3 days now.
Um
I am
I will preface this real quick and saying we will try to avoid spoilers for those of you who don't have it yet or are still playing it. So yeah, carry away,
yeah.
Nero.
The only part I might like they'll be talking about like I'm just gonna talk about like stuff. If I mention something, it's gonna be stuff that was already like pre-revealed in trailers, right? So,
hmm
Craven, Venom, Black Suit, and Sandman. Um,
Yes,
so I guess starting off, that Sandman opening was phenomenal. Um,
I will
one of
say I watched Luna do like some cool combos with Spider-Man and Miles, and I'm like, I bet you that felt so cool to do. She's like, it did.
you did really like
Yeah.
the set piece. That set piece is still I think is my favorite set piece so far in the trilogy now. It is a phenomenal set piece opening up. It does a great way of introducing all the mechanics of the switching between Miles and Peter, of the new web wings, which is a phenomenal. It's like I was worried with the web wings, right? Because I was like, oh shit, is this gonna make the swinging obsolete, right? Or is it gonna like feel inferior to the swinging or whatever? It's like a perfect balance between the two. Like it's like almost like a dance, right? I'll swing and then I'll web wing a bit and like then web wing down into a swing because then you lose speed and momentum from the webbing eventually unless you're in a slipstream. And then
I saw someone cross, I guess it was the Golden Gate Bridge, but like just over the water. They swung at first, then they
yes,
glided with their web wings, then they slid on the
the water.
water,
Yup.
and then they web swinged over. And then it was a whole thing of like, I don't understand like why they would add the fast travel system
The one thing I've
when
always said
you
about
could
these
do this.
Spider-Man games is the traversal is half the game, right? And
hmm
it's one of them. Like, I am the kind of person who hates traversal in games, right? Typically, just get me to point A to point B. Like, I don't need like make if you make this walking too slow, it's gonna drive me insane or whatever. This game make like I don't use like I'm like I would be the perverse person who use fast travel in a game usually. Once I get it, I rarely use fast travel. I think I've used it twice so far, and that was just because I'm like, I really need to get to this one side mission, and it's on literally the opposite side of the map completely. I will fast travel there. But besides like that, I don't ever because it's as much of the game as the combat is.
hmm
Web swinging and now with the air gliding is just so much fun. They kept the trick system in from Miles Morales, so you can do like tricks in the air and stuff, and it is just it's such a cool experience. Like these games perfectly simulate being Spider-Man and the fun that it is. Um, Combat has been streamlined even more so, right? In the first two games, you have like a gadget wheel, right? And now you just have four gadgets instead of like six. And they're just mapped out. So you just click, instead of having to click the button and then cycle through all the gadgets, I just click the button and press a button that's locked to it. And it's simple, quick. You can fire off multiple gadgets quickly, and it feels more streamlined.
Okay.
And ability wise, now you get a core set of abilities for Miles and Peter. You can switch them in the menu because each have like usually like it's two for each button, depending on right. Peter's are like either he got the spider claws, spider hand thingies, you know the iron spider
The legs.
legs,
Yeah.
yeah, or the black suit stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
and Miles has his venom attacks or this alternate version of the venom attacks that they're just calling lightning. Still
Yeah.
don't know what the full deal with that is. Still going through the story. I am like progress bar, and the progress bar is for everything in the game, not just story. It's like for quests and story. So I'm like 69% through right now. Right now,
Oh
about.
wow.
Um, I know I am closing into the end of the story. It feels that way, and I got stuck at one point, and I got stupid, so I had to look at a walkthrough to figure out what the frick I was doing. I was just being
Mm-hmm.
stupid.
Mm-hmm.
100% a user error. I thought I got bugged, but it was 100% a user error issue. Um, and then I saw, like, okay, there's like six more quests left. So I'm like, okay, of mainline quests. So I'm like, all right, I'm getting close to the end here. It is a very Spider-Man story, right? It does cool and interesting, unique things with the Spider-Man mythos. I think we'll see where this one pans out. I thought the first game did more interesting, unique things. That being said, the first game was like it was the opening, like right, I've already existed in this world now, so I kind of understand how it works and how it works within like the Spider mythos and like how where it places. So I kind of expecting certain things, and those things
Yeah.
are happening. That's just knowledge from comics and from other mediums. So once I got a grasp of, okay, so this is how this works here, which means if this happens, then that's going to happen in that way. And so far, it's followed on track.
I
Um,
mean, in the end, it all adds up to how this game is gonna end, I guess,
yeah.
because they might
So,
just throw you a massive curveball.
which the first game did, right? Like the first game's post credit scene was the big Venom reveal, right? Like, oh, the symbiote. But the
Mm-hmm.
way in which the symbiote, without spoiling for either people who don't know or for you, because you said you hadn't played it, right? The first game.
I have not. No.
Yeah. So to not spoil, I guess the details of that, uh, the way in which the symbiote comes about or who it's related to is very different in this universe.
Okay.
So it was like, oh shit, curveball moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
and like again, the end of that game, right? Having Miles uh, get bitten by a spider was also a huge curveball because in the runs, really, I guess the two major Miles stories we have, Peter's dead, right? Like he's not
Yeah, that's
in
true.
Ultimate Comics. He gets it after Peter dies, and then into the
And he
Spider
picks up
Verse.
the mantle. Yeah.
Yeah, and into Spider Verse, same thing. So getting this relationship of the current Spider-Man from his world, right? So like, as opposed to Into the Spider Verse, where he's getting mentored from other Spider-Man from other worlds, and getting that relationship dynamic was so interesting, unique, and fun to see, especially in this game, right? You see it a little bit in Miles Morales, but seeing it in this game fully formed and like them teaming up with Spider-Man and how they do what they do, and like, hey Spider-Man, like them working out the little kinks of like there being two Spider-Man in New York
Mm-hmm.
is very fun. I love how this world is just it just exists, right? Insomniac has created a Spider-Man mythos for themselves that I think stands equally on like with some of the great Spider-Man stories, right? In some of the great Spider-Man worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Like my favorite TV version was Spectacular Spider-Man, right?
Correct.
Which created like this like canceled way too early in its time. It created a great, cool, interesting, unique world and like of the Spider-Man mythos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this stands up with that and like I want to say like honestly it's weird because I rank both these two stories much higher than the any of the live action films.
For
Um,
sure. Yeah.
it like stands close, very close to the Into the Spider Verses and Across the Spider Verse, which is still like those are my favorite, some of my favorite Spider-Man stories. Period.
For sure.
Now,
Yeah, I'm
so it's
definitely
hard to
looking
say like
forward to
it's
the next one for that.
yes,
Definitely good
I'm
movies.
extraordinarily looking forward to the next one when it eventually comes. It's gonna be a while more now because of the strikes going on, so that's delayed everything.
Yeah, and also what an ambitious release date that they were planning. Like
Oh yeah,
I was not shocked at all when they said that they're going to be delaying their release because I was like, it took you 5 years or something to get the second film out, and now it's like, what, you're going to try to get this out next year?
yeah. Like in my head, like I'm the only way the only way I could have rationalized that before like was, oh, they were working on them in tandem at the same
Hmm.
time. That's the only conceivable way that could have worked.
Well, especially with the way the second one ended, that would have
Yeah,
made sense.
yeah,
But it's also like I was like, that's a little ambitious, I think.
yeah,
So
just a tad. I'm loving though. So I guess some standout though. I do think all the new suits. So the big thing about these Spider-Man games is they have phenomenal suit designs, like side suits you can equip.
uh-huh.
And the suit designs in this game are just as just as amazing. I think I do lean to like Miles suits a little bit more in this game than Peter's.
Miles is a little more stylized anyway than Peter, I'd
That's
say.
true. Um, I think though, like in comparison, like I still like Peter's suits from the first game more overall.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of the Peter suits in this game are like a quarter of them are movie references, right? So there's Tom Holland suit, there's Andrew Garfield suit, there's the Toby suit, there's the Toby Black suit. Um, there is like
Is there like Andrew suit 1 and 2, Tom suit 1,
y-
2, 3, 4, or whatever?
like no, like essentially, yeah, they don't call it that, right? They call the Tom suits the advanced it's not the advanced suits, the upgrade suit or something.
Mm-hmm.
The Garfield suits are called Amazing Suit and Amazing
Oh,
Suit
that's
something.
clever.
So like they have like names for them and like
What did they call the Tom suits? Like home suits?
uh the Tom no like it's called a upgraded suit I think or like
Oh, okay, that makes
I know
sense.
the or something like that.
I think
Uh,
home suit would have been good.
home suit would have been funny. And they've got like it's got a couple weird ones. I'm like I don't love all the current ones though. Like I like it does have the Iron Spider suit, which is what I'm using right now. I
Mhm.
like that one a lot because they changed the spider legs to gold to match the suit, right? You know, the rest of the other suits don't change the legs when you equip them, like use
Yeah,
them for abilities. This one does, and I appreciate that, right? I'm like, you know what? Yeah,
the detail. Yeah.
it's the little details. Actually, speaking of little details, I was in that suit. It was in a cutscene, um, during the rain, right? And there was like a close-in shot, and you could see the raindrops falling on the pieces of armor and like making little like watermarks.
That's
Like
crazy.
I was like, son of a bitch, you guys did it.
Yeah.
As much as people will clown on the faces in this game, because man, sometimes the faces look weird for like the human characters. Anything in suit looks so good.
Well, they
Um,
put the detail where it's needed.
yes.
Like
We'll say the controversy of the faces is I think honestly I feel like it does match the level. Like I hated the. I'm not sure. In case you don't know, they changed Peter's face, right?
mhm.
Between games and Miles, and in the re-release of PS4. Did not like how it looked in PS4. I think it looks fine now. Some people don't like his thick neck. I think it looks fine. As someone with a thick neck, I think it looks
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah,
um,
someone who can identify himself as
yeah,
Spider-Man.
yes. As someone who has the neck of Spider-Man, uh, it looks fine. He like when I take into account like, oh yeah, he is only 25. Yeah, he does look like yeah, it's fine. He looks young, right? Um, I don't know why in my head he was older in Spider-Man PS4 than 22, but I don't. It's fine. He's 25. He looks fine for that age.
Hmm.
Miles looks great as ever. Still looks great. Mary Jane does look really weird. I don't know what they did. I don't know why they changed the face again. Because don't maybe it's the nose. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Um, but very good game. Contend depending on how it ends, it could be a contender for my game of the year.
Okay.
Um, right now there's like two games in contention for that slot, and I'm like still like narrowing it down in my head. This could
Is
be
one
a
of them
third.
is one of them Baldur's Gate?
One of them is Baldur's Gate.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a few things that keep it outright from being my game of the year, like flat out undeniable.
Hmm.
Do that for a Baldur's Gate cast. I have
Well, it's
Luna's
like
heard my
it's one thing.
criticisms.
It's like one thing because I know you have been kind of back and forth with Baldur's Gate as far as it being like a letdown and stuff, but I think it is like at least attested to show that like it has made such an impact with like the D&D community and also just with gamers in general. Like I see Baldur's Gate everywhere right
Oh
now.
yeah, like if I were to pick a game like from like impact standpoint, it's easily the game of the year, right? As in like the
Hmm.
game most talked about this year.
Yeah,
Um, I just have my own gripes with Act Three in
for
comparison to
sure. I
how
haven't even gotten to Act 3.
Act Three is more of a letdown for me than I guess because comparatively to how pristine Act One and Two are, right?
Hmm.
Where like going in through Act One and Two, I'm like, oh my god, there's no way that anything could top this, and then Act Three comes, and I'm like, oh, this
I
is
have played through so much Act 1.
Act One's
So much.
phenomenal.
Like I have played I've started so many playthroughs with Luna. We have restarted countless times.
Yep.
And still every single time there is something that I did not know. There's still something that shows up that I'm like, what?
And I do think it's a curse of modern CRPGs in a way. I don't want to say modern CRPGs because I haven't played too many. Like I never finished like Divinity or Pillow. You know what? Divinity's counted in this too, so actually maybe this is fine. Where the first half of the games are always so phenomenal, and they all just kind of fall off in the final act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, my notoriously like one of my favorite games of all time is Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous,
Mm-hmm.
CRPG from a few years ago, and the first that game is also has an act structure, right? 3 act structure. Act 3 in that game also just kind of falls off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just pitters out. And I'm like, oh, I guess not Act 3. Act 1, Act 2, Act 5. Sorry, it's not any 3 act structure. It's a 5 act structure. Whatever. Act 5, Chapter 5. It just kind of like pitters out. Like a big chunk of that final chapter is devoted to a side quest. It's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it does kind of like blah out at the end. So I think I don't know. It feels like a pattern with scriptures. I know Divinity 2, also Larian's previous game, its final chapter, Chapter 4, was like a hot mess on release too. So
I don't know what it was about Divinity. I got Divinity 2 at one point. My friend Joe convinced me to get it to play with him because he said it's like playing D&D.
yeah,
Um and I was playing it and I don't know, it was not capturing me. I wasn't there. I don't know what it was about it, and so I think I only played like maybe 30 minutes,
could be like could be lore maybe or like the world. Uh,
maybe.
like I didn't. I definitely put more time into it than that, but it also didn't capture me completely. I put like 10 hours into it.
Like
Um, and it
Baldur's Gate just did something that like just grabbed me. I don't know what it was. Like if it was just the character creator and how in depth I could make it and I could really build like my characters finally. I don't know if Divinity had that problem or something to where I felt like I couldn't make my characters in it, but I don't know.
yeah. Uh, I don't know. I did because I made 2 characters in Divinity. One when I was playing with my friends, which is an original created character. I don't remember what I made there. And then I played an origin character for like most of the 10 hours.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. It just didn't. Baldur's Gate definitely had the fact that it is D&D. It is using 5e rule set going for it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Whereas Divinity does have its own rules and world and lore and stuff. So if you don't buy, you don't. It's like you have to buy into that quick, right?
Yeah,
Like
maybe that's what it was. Like it was just so familiar to me, maybe.
yeah, Baldur's Gate has the easy buy-in for a lot of people of it being the Forgotten Realms. It's 5e. I know this. I understand this. I know this, right? Like even Pathfinder for me was an easier buy-in than Divinity at the first, like for the Pathfinder Kingmaker, which was the first one of the two, because Pathfinder is just Ultra D&D, right? It's based on 3.5. So and a lot of this lore and stuff is similar enough to the Forgotten Realms, where it was an easier buy-in for me.
Okay.
Um, because it's a spin-off of it.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's a big part of it. It just also it captures you right off the bat, right? I remember talking with my dad about this with when Starfield came out, right? Like comparing Baldur's Gate
I
to
was actually gonna
Starfield's
bring up
opening.
Starfield next because I remember you didn't like it. So
Yeah, so this is where I was talking about with the opening, right? Baldur's Gate 3's opening is a phenomenal game opening. It sucks you in, it hooks you in right off the bat, right? You have
yeah,
this basically what amounts to an alien abduction, right? You're on a ship, you're trying to escape. Shit's gone crazy, just demons flying around. There's the mind flayers and like the walking brains everywhere. It is balls to the walls crazy, and it hooks you into the story, right? Starfield doesn't do that. Starfield meanders really a lot at the beginning, where I'm
yeah.
just like, you're a miner, you find this weird thing. Oh, we're doing the Mass Effect thing, except it's not as cool. And then I'm given a ship for reasons, and
So
it just did not within its two
if
hour.
you are a lore junkie, which you are,
Yes,
Starfield it's very slow in the
yes,
beginning. Um, I personally have been very much loving Starfield. Um, I haven't really played it in a while though, because I wanted to start modding it, and that's been the whole thing. I'm actually thinking about just removing my mods to continue playing it. Plus, I created 6 characters already,
oh
so
damn,
there's that. It's more so like because it's something I do in every Bethesda game where I create like certain trope characters. Like I have the leader character who's high in charisma and talks his
hmm
way through things and d- typically deals with like settlements and in this game outposts and stuff like that. I have a character who is just hard headed, just punches all of his problems. He just goes in unarmed, does everything that way.
yeah,
Um, I got a character. For a while, I had 2 characters. One that's a sniper and one that's a sword character. I just put them both together in this game because I was tired of making new characters. Um, and they're like they try to be the sneaky character. Also, real quick, one huge critique: Sneak sucks ass in Starfield. I don't know if they ever plan on I don't know if they ever plan on patching that, but goddamn, it's bad. It's you take one step, even with like tier 2 sneak, and people are still like, "What was that?" And then they immediately open fire at you, whether you're invisible or not. Um, hate it 100%. You need to snipe if you want to do a sneak build. Um, and then one other build is a tech character who uses
hmm
like energy weapons and also focuses on research and resources and stuff. And then I have one character that just solves all of his problems by killing people.
that's yep, the murder hobo.
hmm So those are my characters that I've been doing. And then I had my original character that I was just like when I was testing out the game and stuff. Um, the story does get good if you love like multiverse theory and stuff like that.
Okay,
Um, it's been a lot of fun to explore that. Definitely takes a twist where you're like, holy shit. It definitely isn't like as gruesome or serious of a lore as much as a Fallout or
hmm
even like Fallout New Vegas is still like my perfect Bethesda game of
even though it's not a Bethesda game.
yeah of but it's the the Fallout uh place, and that's why it works. I think Obsidian just overall just works great with property with building off of existing things.
Yes, they
um
do really well with that.
they do very well with that. As far as their own properties, like their own games, like they could be good, but they're never like as phenomenal as because I think their 2 best games are Fallout New Vegas and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2.
That would be accurate. At least I would agree with
Yeah.
that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Oops,
So
sorry to viewers if you heard that motorcycle guy running down the street.
the
Um,
motorcycle was running?
uh, Loudly
Huh?
on 2 feet.
Whoa! Whoa!
um, but yeah, I guess yeah, Starfield. So I got to I think where I fell off Starfield was around. I think it was after I met the what's the place? The people, the constellations. What are they called, right?
Yeah, the main group. Yeah,
Yeah,
Constellation.
and I guess it just I'm like, why am I doing this? Right? Like it didn't give me a really like how like a game has to give you like when you have a game where you create your own character, right, it needs to give you a hook or a reason to do the things, right? Um,
Correct.
right. Baldur's Gate, you have a thing in your head, you have to get it out, you will die. Dragon Age Origins, another great example where you are forced into this order, and this is your life. If you don't do it now, you will die. Like, okay, got it. But you have like background reasons, right? To give you like a background reasons to do other things, right? Like this game didn't give me a reason, like right, like dealing with Bethesda games, right? Fallout New Vegas. Dude, you're shot in the head. Are you getting what? Why? You want to find out, right?
Yeah. This
Um,
dude shot you in the head twice.
yeah,
Go get
twice for
him.
good measure. Go get him, right? Fallout 3. You trying to find your dad, right? Like you get a whole, even though it's a slow beginning, you get a whole like motivation from that, right? Even Fallout 4, which I didn't care for too much. Find your kid.
Yeah.
They give you a reason, right? Um, the probably the least reason you want is Skyrim, which just felt closer to a cold opening, but it still had a cool or more interesting opening, right? With the dragon and the attack and all that stuff.
Maybe
So
that's why Skyrim never gripped me, because yeah, there wasn't really like once I escaped that town, it was like what am I supposed to do now? I guess just kind
yeah,
of explore.
yeah, Skyrim, which is why I like the meme of no one ever does a Skyrim main plot because it doesn't give you a reason to do it. It doesn't really grip you
Hmm.
once you're out of that main town. It doesn't. It just has. I think the opening is just good enough, right, to carry you through, and to get you at least hooked into the world.
Well, and that's just the problem with free roam games in general. It is like it's like I want a reason, but don't force me to do anything, you know?
Yeah,
So
enticing.
it is like it is kind of like what, like how are you supposed to write that, you know? It's like there's not many ways to do it.
Yeah, I don't think. I think the issue with Starfield is it didn't even try to write a reason, right? Like it just. At no point during that whole beginning part where it's like, oh yeah, I gotta do like I questioned the guy, being like, well, why? Why can't you just do it? And he's like, well, I gotta stay here. I'm like, okay, but it's still the nature of why I'm the one who has to do it. You
Hmm.
know?
First off, like what if I didn't pick a trait or something or a background that meant that I can fly a ship? What if I can't fly a ship?
I had that exact same thought when I was doing the gunplay at the beginning, right? Like this
Hmm.
isn't like a Fallout where it's post-apocalyptic. Everyone needs to know how to use a gun to survive, right? Or like you're taught how to use a gun, like in the early parts of Fallout, right? Like it is a very much a. Well, what if I didn't pick the soldier background or background? Like, what if I did just pick the truck driver background? Why the fuck would I know how to use a gun? In that moment, I'm like, oh yeah, I picked a soldier. I knew he was a gun. I'm like, wait. What if I didn't? What if I did pick the truck driver one? Why would
Well,
I
there
know how to
were
use a
other
gun?
options too. Like you could have picked up the Rescue X as well.
Oh, I
Um,
guess.
you know, there were other options,
Were
but
there?
yeah, I get what you mean. You could have just tried to use your mining laser if you wanted.
So I guess just little things like why do I know how to fly the ship? Why give me this ship?
Hmm.
And then I guess the tutorial for the ship flying was just bad in general. Like I don't know if Luna told you what I was doing, but I was flying, trying to fly manually to that world with the bandits,
I will say I tried doing that too.
right?
So
And it's like the game does not make it clear whatsoever that you're supposed to fast travel there, and that's like
everything is menus galore.
it doesn't. It gave me the illusion of it's not even a good illusion of like flying, right? Like it like to me, I'm like No Man's Sky did it better, for, at least for space stuff. Like
Well, and see, view this as lazy or intuitive, but they did make the game to be modded.
yeah, that was my
It's
other
like it,
issue.
which like it's like it, yes, you could see it as lazy. I can totally understand that. I also see it as like, I guess, yeah, it's a game that they want their community to do whatever they really want with the game.
I don't. I guess so. I don't see it as lazy, but I do see it as full of themselves, right? Like they're just gonna assume, like, right? They're Bethesda. They have a community. They'll figure it out. They'll do what they want with it, right? They're like,
Hmm.
I will make a sandbox for them, assuming on the fact that people will keep playing it, right? Like you, it's the assumption, right? That's annoying me. The assumption that like Bethesda fans will just take what we give them and they will mod it, right? Like what is the I guess the assurance, right? Like they could just go back to modding Fallout and Skyrim like they have been doing. Why would they bother with this new game if you don't give them something to more to hook on, right? Like
Now,
I don't like that like assumption that the mods like I know that's what I always heard. I guess the first 2 weeks like it'd be like, oh yeah, just wait for the mods. I'm like, why should I have to wait for the mods?
I will say though, we've waited. There's some really good mods.
Yeah, it's just annoying me that they just like, oh yeah, it'll work out because the fans will fix it, you know? Which
Mhm.
it's like it just annoys me, right? Just the assumption of it, right?
It is annoying, but at the same time, I can see it as like a pretty cool thing. Um,
I like
you
right
know,
like it's a two-sided. Like I wish more companies would make their games moddable easily for fans, right? But at the same time, I don't want you to just like assume that they're going to do the heavy lifting for you.
now there are some really cool things. Someone did make a mod where you can fly in between planets now,
I
like
did
in
hear
No
about
Man's
that,
Sky.
and that sounds
There's that.
awesome.
It also sounds like this is going to be the greatest Star Wars game ever made because people are creating Star Wars planets
That's
in
fun.
this game. And they have made there's a certain suit of art. There's a side quest called the Mantis
Hmm.
where you go through this puzzle and you find like that there are these pirates trying to break into this base and it's highly secured. And you have to solve these puzzles to get through each room and stuff and also fight off pirates. And you also find these audio logs of the story of basically this old woman has been known as the Mantis, as like this vigilante in the stars, and you are trying to you're trying to she wants to pass on her legacy to her son. Um, and so you go through this and you could see like these audio logs of the son going through it, going through each puzzle and stuff, solving everything. By the end of it, you find her son dead on the ground,
Oof.
and you have to finish the puzzles now to try to get to the end, and you can become the new Mantis, complete with a
Mm.
new ship, new suit of armor, some good gear and stuff. It's really cool. Someone made a mod to where that Mantis armor is now the Mandalorian armor. I think someone also modded it to where the ship is also the Mandalorian ship.
Like honestly, as far as Star Wars, I'm probably just gonna wait 3 years before for like a Star Wars overhaul mod.
Yeah, that's
Where
what it's
like,
coming down to. And you remember when we were watching the trailer, I was like, "Where's my lightsaber?"
I
I'm
imagine.
hoping, I'm hoping to finally get that lightsaber. I don't know if there's one officially in the game yet, but there's sure gonna be a mod for it. That's for sure. We already have the Force. Like,
Yeah, it's like
um,
honestly, just waiting for like a Star Wars overhaul mod. To be honest, like
yeah,
really, that's when I'll play it probably again. Um, I guess the other thing, just to note, like before I'm listing all my the reason I didn't stick with it was I didn't love the and I well like from the beginning when this was first got announced, I never vied with the architecture style. At the very least of New Atlantis, I know there's other styles in the game, with some other like areas, but like the main New Atlantis and like a very clean sci-fi look, like a new like not I guess post sci. I don't want to call it sci-fi, like post or most or near future sci-fi look that it has going. It's never been my vibe.
mm,
I
like
like
it, like the fashion or.
the look of everything. I guess it's very like clinical. I guess is what I would
Mm-hmm,
call it, right? Like it looks like our technology, just slightly, very slightly more in the future.
mm-hmm.
I like things to look a little more alien or wacky, right? Like I like how Mass Effect looks with that like
Like
more
well,
alien
and like
touch to
Star
it, and
Wars,
Star
yeah.
Wars. Because Star Wars has like a either has like a very alien look to it or a very grungy look.
Mm-hmm.
This looks very clean and clinical, and it's not my favorite sci-fi
Well,
aesthetic.
it definitely is like New Atlantis is like the new central hub, like pretty much the new Earth in a way.
Yeah,
Um, and because there's other planets like there's some of the main planets are New Atlantis, Aquila City, and Neon.
yeah,
And Neon and Aquila City are very different from New Atlantis
yeah. I
as far
know.
as vibes.
Is Neon is the cyberpunk one, right?
It's the cyberpunk world, yeah.
And then the is the Tequila the western one?
Yep.
Yeah. Like I mean, like even like the Western one, probably I feel like if I had gotten like there first or started there from there somehow, I feel like I might have like vibed more because like, oh, Space Cowboys, I dig that.
Yeah.
It's just where they start me. Also, it's just kind of like not my cup of tea
Mm-hmm.
as far as aesthetics go. So it's like I was
Ooh,
like,
another mod was they changed the UC Vanguard, their uniform, to just be stormtroopers. And it looks really good too. It's very shiny and stuff.
yeah, I'm just gonna wait out like a year or two for full Star Wars rework. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
that's where
That's what it
that'll be a
comes
great
down
Star
to,
Wars
man.
game, great
Like,
open world Star Wars game.
there's already some like previews that I saw of some mods that people are working on where someone actually just made from scratch like Mustafar and stuff.
It's dope.
So it's cool
I love modders. I love the fan communities around things. It just
for sure.
they
Baldur's
really
Gate 3 has just been a joy to mod for me.
so
Mostly
like
for like subclasses.
yeah. So my typical modding methodology right is once I'm done with the game and I can no longer get any more vanilla content out of it, that's when I start modding typically.
Mm-hmm.
So Baldur's Gate's still way off. Damn computer. Still a ways off for me to start really
For
heavy
sure.
modding for me. Just because I know also Larian's updating very regularly,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't want to mess with anything that could potentially like deal like break something or whatever. So I'm not the kind of person who's gonna mod it right away. Like maybe like a year or two, I might start modding Baldur's Gate to get more out of it.
Yeah.
Um, or if it's a game where I don't care for the vanilla content at all, so like a Starfield, right? Where I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll mod that to actually play it. Or like if it's like the dev cycle's completely done, right? Of a game and they come out later and I get mods to enhance the base experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like right, so that's like kind of like how I do modding. Um, not gonna do things right off the bat. Very looking forward to whatever Baldur's Gate 3 mods I eventually get to, but I'm also just kind of looking forward to what Larian puts in base wise eventually,
For sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because like they very much stressed in that early like, which could mean nothing at this point anymore. But I do remember their wording for like right as like right before the game comes out is they kept saying insert amount of classes here at launch, braces at launch, right? They kept repeating at launch, which makes me think that we're going to get some kind of DLC later down the line to get more races,
I
classes.
I hope so. There has been like this huge thing in the community of people really trying to loophole their way through the story to have every ally, pretty
Oh,
much.
jeez.
One of the biggest ones in the game is there's a character named Minthara
Yes,
who
yes, yes.
she can only join you if you're evil, because in
Yep.
order for her to join you, you have to attack
The Grove.
Emerald Grove.
Yep.
Unfortunate, but there are people like, and every time people find a loophole, Larian patches it into where
Because,
you can't do that
yeah.
anymore. Right now, the method, besides modding it, is to knock her out when you get to the Goblin Camp.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard this one.
And then when you get to Moonrise Towers, go back to the Goblin Camp, polymorph her into a sheep, and throw her all the way to Moonrise Tower.
Jesus.
And just keep throwing her. And then you have to go through a cutscene of Thorm casting pretty much judgment upon her as a sheep.
That's kind of amusing, though.
And then it's a lot of work, but people have done it. So then after that, she joins you.
I will say it is the rewards for being evil are not great in Baldur's Gate. To the point where I question why they implemented the options. Right? Because like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 has very clear like you can play evil and there's enough evil companions to completely make it worth it, right? Like a good third of the companions are evil in the first two Baldur's Gates. You only have Minthara and like kind of Asterion and kind of Lizelle if you squint.
So
And kind of Shadowheart if you squint, but they're more neutral than anything.
well, and that's one thing I like about us, like Astarion and Shadowheart in the first place, is that they kind of sway depending on how you work with them as
Yes,
well.
they're very
Shadowheart
malleable.
can very much be an evil character if
Yep.
if
You
you
push
help
her-
mold
yeah.
her in that way.
Yeah, if you push her more towards Char.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Asterion, right? Um, they like if you squint, they can be evil, and you can kind of make them into an evil party with Minthara, but it is
Mm-hmm.
very like it doesn't give you lose out on a lot of like key items and key vendors and key quest lines where I feel like there should be some sort of replacement on the opposing side, right? Like give me a goblin companion.
One of my favorite things in Baldur's Gate is the tieflings.
Hmm.
I like that they go through this journey with you
Yes.
and that you see them along the whole journey and you guys kind of help each other while not being directly involved with each other, and I do and I really like trying to save them all as much as I can because they're innocent good people. And that's something that I enjoy. You don't really get that with the goblins. You don't really
Yeah.
interact with the same goblins the whole time except for who, like Saza, I
Yeah.
guess.
Like give me something on the evil side to make it worth, or like even like give me better items somehow, right? Like, but right now it's so lopsided on the good side where you get better items, you get better vendors, you get better quests, where you don't really, excuse me, you don't get too much for playing evil besides really Minthara.
Back on the note of you saying give us a goblin ally, give me a freaking tiefling ally as well. Like,
Karlach.
can Alfira join me, please? Like, and look, I know about Dirge. I also know that there's an alternate character
That fulfills the same purpose
for
as
Dirge.
yes.
I will stay very
Vague.
yeah, I'll stay very vague about that. There's another character that could show up.
Yes.
So, still we could have Alfira join us. Can we please have a bard and not have two druids?
That was I was like two of them.
Druid is already like annoying to play in the game. I really wish I could love Druid so much, but in the end, they're just a tank that can refill their health bar easily. In the end,
I also wish I could love druids. I really do. I can't. I don't like the flavor of druids at all either. So it's like
an early game Druid just sucks ass. Oh my god, it's so annoying.
yeah, two. Like no, and I know right. I know Jaheira was always intended because Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate Legacy Companion. I know Hassan only got added in midway through dev cycle though because people loved him so much. So I know that wasn't intended.
They just wanted to. They were pleased. Like
fans were horny.
I love the furry community. Please don't get me wrong. I have nothing but love for the furry community. They were just after the furries, man. And then not only that, it's also just people questioning themselves. Am I a furry?
No, you just like big,
am
strong
I a furry
wood
for
elves.
wanting this bear of a man to rail me?
Just like big, strong wood elves.
Oh my gosh.
Also, he's just really really weird because he's the only poly option, and it just it feels very awkwardly put in his whole everything about him is very awkwardly put into the game. You can tell it was late minute edition because his only main quest line is completed before you even get him. So it's like it's really just weird.
For the record, I just realized after my tangent about tieflings, I do want to point out I know Karlach. Okay, Karlach is precious. I love her, but I mean one of those tieflings. Like I would have loved to have. I understand Zevlor can't join us, but he would have been cool. A good
right.
paladin to work with us.
Everyone agrees that Alfrina should have been a party member, so it's okay.
Yeah.
She was primed. She was primed to be the bard.
Mm-hmm.
And we just nothing.
Larian knew because they give you that middle finger if you do the Dirge playthrough.
Yeah, they really do.
They really do give you that middle finger, and I hate it.
I would also like. It's weird we don't have any short people companions. We don't have gnomes. We don't have dwarves. We don't have halflings.
Our short kings are starving, dude.
Like And they do every damn fantasy game does this, right? I'm like, I'll keep going after Dragon Age because I love that series, but man, we only get like 2 dwarf companions in the whole series. It's like just struggle. Oh, I guess no, sorry, that's what's a lie. We have 3. Sigram exists too in Awakening, but man, just always like just no.
And can we just get rid of the freaking movement debuff for being short, please? They've spent their whole lives keeping up with tall people. Why do we need to debuff them? And then dwarves, they don't get
Look,
a movement debuff with heavy armor.
Wood Elf Master Racer, right? Get that movement increase.
And I totally understand that a gnome or a dwarf couldn't keep up with a wood elf. But can they keep up with a human, please?
The only one that I'll be like, all right, halflings, fine, you can stay with your stubby half movement speed because you get lucky and therefore you are broken already. But that's it.
Have you seen how dwarves really get no benefit?
Dwarves and humans are the sad races in this game. There's nothing good to play with them.
Well, so I saw a TikTok where someone pointed out dwarves are like the only race that don't get like a negative movement with heavy armor.
Yeah.
But the issue is that dwarves already have lower movement speed than everything else. So the movement speed debuff that you get from heavy armor with everyone else just matches you with a dwarf anyway.
You're just naturally you just are in state.
How about I go faster with heavy armor? Is that possible?
Don't think that's how that works. Man, imagine playing human in this game. They get nothing.
I have a couple humans.
They get no benefits. It's really unfortunate.
It sucks that we can't
carrying.
run the human variant.
Too powerful.
Yeah,
Too busted.
it would be. I mean, for someone like me, I'm just putting that first feed into performer, to be honest.
Yeah, it does suck.
I've been putting performer on every character at level 4, like every ally, just so I can have my roaming band, so I don't have to make everyone into bards. It's been great.
Just give me. Why do we have 2 humans? We have 2 human companions. That was a choice. They actively made that choice.
Do we only have 2? Let me see.
Or is it 3?
There's
Will and Gale.
Gale.
Is that right?
And then
there's not many companions. And
what's
there's human also. So we have
He's
3.
human, yeah. So that's 3. Halsin is in
Wood Elf.
He's a wood elf. Okay.
Halsin's a wood elf. Jahira's a high elf.
Shadowheart's a half elf.
Astarion is a high elf.
Yeah.
Anthara's a drow. Karlach's a
Tiefling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also one of the humans doesn't even stay as a tiefling. Or one of the humans doesn't stay as a human in most
depends
playthroughs.
how you play it. Yeah.
Yeah. In most playthroughs, I would say.
It's a choice, right? Like
good or evil. Good luck killing Karlach, honestly. You love her too much.
All right, I need to tell you a story of my friend. I had a friend who he went into the game mostly blind, so he didn't know most of the pains. He just killed Karlach on like pure roleplay instinct. He's like, yeah, Will told me to kill her. He just killed her.
Did they not talk to her?
He's like, she's a liar. The paladin told me so. The paladin's up top.
To be fair, it was word of mouth from a paladin. So,
paladin of Tyr, the law, and
like, if there's anyone I can trust about good values, it's probably the paladin.
Now, please note that this man then goes and meets Minthara. He's like, "Oh, I'll do whatever you say."
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he doesn't think we're listening to paladins. Like, she's a paladin too. She's clearly,
yeah, but it's like,
she knows what's up.
If you stereotypically think of paladins, it is just kind of like they are always seen as like the goody two shoes in armor, you know.
He also just hated the druids too. So like, you know what? Some tiefling casualties, whatever.
That's fair, and that seems to be the common consensus with the druids in general. Is like whether good or bad, I just hate them.
They're just
the
biggest.
However, I do love the I do love investigating Kaga, and
So
I
I still have not completed that quest line on an. I know it exists. I just the characters that I've completed that far into the game with, the way I roleplayed them, it just did not come up.
let me tell you, playing a campaign with Luna, she knows every single side quest and every single like she can. There might be a couple little things that she might miss as far as like for instance, when right by where you discover Astarion, I found out that you can like there's like some cliffs and stuff that you can go down, and you could find like a map
Yeah, the
to
Harper
the
map.
harpy nest.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. Like you have to move the boulder to find that. I didn't know that
Hold
was
up.
there.
Did we not? I swear I discovered this when we were all playing multiplayer together.
You probably did it, and I wasn't watching you.
Okay. Because I discovered it then. I swear we were all playing multiplayer together.
Okay.
Yeah, because I discovered it on my my Durger, my dark dwarf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like we might miss little stuff like that comparatively to something like that, but she knows every single side quest and stuff too, and every single little faction everywhere. Like she was showing me everything with the Underdark, with the Mountain Pass, and also with
Well, she has put an unhealthy amount of time in this game, so
I never thought that she would have passed me in hours in any game that I play, but here we are.
I still remember the conversation. She messaged like, "You think I like Baldur's Gate?" Before she bought it.
I am currently logged at 215.8 hours.
Oh god, you guys have me beat.
Let's take a look at Luna. I am about to investigate. I'm about to call her out on the pod. I will make sure she listens to this one. Oh my god!
Is it 300 or 400?
498.3.
Jesus
She's
Christ!
almost at 500. You know the one
Jesus.
thing that she has more hours in? VTube Studio. You want to know the next game she has hours in? Monster Hunter World at 83.8. Dear God.
Clearly, this is her game of the year.
Oh my God.
I have 185 hours in Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh man.
Comparatively, for Pathfinder, I have 315.
Yeah, I wonder if
Jesus.
Baldur's Gate. Let me look at my games real quick. I want to see what has.
I think
my
like the
highest
only game I've
activity.
played more than Pathfinder in my life is some variant of Kingdom Hearts 2.
So Baldur's Gate actually is my highest right now, but I have like 187 in Fallout 4, 148 in Sea of Thieves, 129 in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. So I've actually had 77 hours for Starfield. Did not know that.
Yeah, I don't have anything longer. I know I've. Yeah, because what? But otherwise, other games I've played that long. If we count Persona 5, both versions, it's like together I have like 400, 500 hours, but
we don't want to know League of Legends.
that's a forbidden number.
There is no website that could tell me. There's two things, and that is the amount of time and the amount of money that I've spent on League of Legends.
Look, what I've learned is people who play MOBAs have ungodly amounts of time in MOBAs, right? Whether it be Dota or League, you have an unholy amount of time into those somehow. You time warp gate. There's more hours. There's not enough hours in the universe to accumulate it, but you do.
I'm approaching 10 years of League of Legends.
Jesus Christ.
2014, I think, is when I started. It was like actually, it was pre-season 4, so it had to have been the end of 2013 when I finally started playing.
That's a lot of time.
It's draining.
I imagine. It sounds it.
It's draining. I'm melting.
I'm melting.
I'm melting. I'm gonna be liquid. Anyway, we should probably wrap up.
It's about time. I was just thinking that. Alrighty. So that has been another episode of Nerd Nonsense. Hopefully we are getting better at this. Well, we shall see. You can find us at our usual spots. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to, like I did last time. Links are down below in both Spotify description and in the YouTube descriptions. So our
But
Twitters and our Twitches.
let's say they're driving. We don't want them
That's
looking
true.
down at
That's
their
true.
phone.
That's true. It's true. We don't want accidents. So you can find me at Nero V Belial on both Twitter and the Twitch. And Makoto, where can they
I
find
am
you?
Makoto Dragon _ on Twitter. I am Makoto Dragon on Twitch, and also Makoto Dragon on YouTube.
Oh, did you change it? What was it?
I think it is at Makoto Dragon on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't changed like my
Your branding.
banner and my icon and stuff like that. Well, no, I think my icon is Makoto Dragon. Yeah, it's the little guy.
One day we'll get a banner for the Nerd Nonsense channel.
My the link to my Twitter is wrong. It says Hubbin TV. Uh-oh.
Oops. Oops. But yeah, thank you for listening. We will be back next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.